brothers and sisters? How are you all today? Good? Today is what is today's date? 11. Coming to the middle of December. A few more weeks before it's year end. 3 more weeks and it is 1st of January. 3 more weeks. So as the year draws to an end, and this year's Chinese New Year or next year's Chinese New Year will be quite early, maybe in January, right?
20 days.
So when the year draws to an end, I often share about a very simple reflection. Each year has 365 days. This year, is it a leap year this year? Is this year a leap year? Not leap year, right? It's a leap year. Chinese calendar. So we have 20 days left of year 2016. Leap year, right? 2016. Usually the year is divisible by 4, except there's certain rule, I remember. So this is a leap year. So we have 366 days. 366 days this year. So good to do some reflection of the year. How have we passed this year? When I was much younger, it is a common practice in school where the teacher will lead the students to write a New Year resolution. Eventually, as we grow up, then this fade into oblivion. Some people still do. I suspect the reason why people stop doing it is not because there's no teacher to guide us, but because maybe for some, it may be hard to keep a New Year resolution. Do you all find it difficult to keep your New Year's resolution?
Yes.
Not so easy, but perhaps, if I may, precisely because it is difficult, that's why you need to set a resolution. If it's something simple or something that you know will happen, you don't have to keep a resolution. Nobody needs to keep a resolution. I must have lunch. Perhaps because whether you have lunch or not, the impact is not so great. But even more importantly, because most of us would have lunch at some point in time. Maybe it's a bit later, maybe it's a bit earlier. But which is why if a person instead, also regarding meal, if a person wants to lose weight, they must make a resolution. I'm going to lose how many kg? I'm going to watch my food intake. Whenever we put a resolution, we put forth a resolution, it is almost inevitably because it's not something easy. It's at least not to us. So no wonder why many times it is also not easy to keep the resolution. So then, should we still set New Year's resolution? It's actually a good practice. in a way, it is like charting the direction for the new year. Yeah. Charting the direction doesn't mean that you'll get there, but at least you know where you want to go. Yeah. It is like you telling when you get into a cab, the first thing that the cabbie will ask you is, "What?
Where are you going?"
Yeah. If it's those black cabbie, then if you even say that, "Hello, how are you today?" Yeah. The more atas kind, hey, is it still around? Fewer number, right? Yeah. Otherwise, usually if you get in a cab, they'll just ask you like, "Where do you want to go?" Yeah. Most of the time you get there. Yeah. Usually you get there. If you don't get there, what do? If somehow the cabbie get you somewhere else, is it okay?
No.
Not okay, yeah. And yet, how much do we pay for cab fare usually?
10.
Maybe, yeah, 10, depending on how far it is. If it's for a longer journey, then you need to pay more for it. Yeah. And if you think about it, every single day, cabbies ply the road and they get people to their destination. Yeah. And comparatively, it's not that much money, isn't it? Yeah. $10 they get you where you want to go, you know? Yeah. So, but are we good cabbies in our life? Do we get ourselves to where we want to go? That's the question. Yeah. That's the question. That is perhaps even more important, isn't it? If we get in a cab and they do get us there, but if they were to take one wrong look, we may start to think, hey, what is this cabbie trying to do? Trying to earn a few more bucks from me or what? Yeah. In the same way, we should look upon ourselves, you know. Yeah. What is this cabbie trying to do? Trying to go the long route or what? Yeah. So, do we drive our life? Yeah. How do we drive this cab of life? So we have 20 more days to think about next year. Not crave for next year. Yeah. Not but to think, hey, if we have one more year, what do you want to spend that 1 year on? Yeah. What do you want to spend that 1 year on? What are the things you can accomplish in that 1 year? A few months ago, I wrote this article in my blog about the 40 things in our life. Yeah. It came about because of a project that I was doing in Kuantan. And I was thinking about how each time you want to embark on a project, it takes some time. And so that day, as I was walking to the toilet from the office, so I was thinking about how long it's going to take and how many more modules to go. And then I was thinking like, hey, that being the case, there's only that much code I can write in this life. You know? And then I went beyond that and I wondered, what else does this apply to other aspects of my life? What other projects beyond coding can I do within my lifespan? There's this sharing that I gave before about how, on average, today, men in Singapore have an average lifespan of about 80 years old. 80 years of life. Women, 85. Every 5 or 10 years, they may adjust it depending on the actual life expectancy. So if you go by that, I have 37 more years on average. Yeah, 37 more years. Now, that's assuming if I can continue doing things effectively until the ripe old age of 80. Yeah. May not be so easy. Yeah. So that's why I thought about 40 things that we can do, assuming that something significant will take maybe 1 year. And if a person is effective from the age of 25 to maybe 65, yeah, then you have about 40-ish number of things that you can do. Yeah. So then, out of that 40 things, in 2017, what are the things you'd like to accomplish? Good to start off and think about it. But as we do that, also good to think about, okay, how about this year, before it comes to an end, before we wrap it up? To ask ourselves, what did we set off this year? Maybe not consciously sitting down and writing, 2016 New Year's resolution, but to consider what was on our mind in 2015 and early 2016. Yeah? And 1 year has passed. How far are we away from that goal? Or how near? Yeah? Have we progressed towards our own goal? You hear that? Yeah, it's telling us the life is coming to an end. Yeah. Ticking away, our life ticking away, ticking down, ticking down, ticking down. It's not meant to be morbid. Yeah? But I don't know about you, but it makes me excited, when you really sit down and say, hey, how much time do I have left? Then you really sit down and say, okay, let me get some things done. Because if you're like me, how many of you procrastinate? Come on, I think most of us procrastinate. Procrastinate means you drag your feet, you dilly-dally, you know something is to be done, and you can do it. The key thing is that you can do it. Yeah. If you're not doing something that you cannot do, that's not procrastination. Understand? Yeah? Procrastination involves us not doing something that you can do. If it's something that you can't do, you can't help it, you cannot do. Yeah? So procrastinators are usually capable people. Yeah, but somehow something cannot be wrapped around here. Yeah. There are a lot of articles about procrastinators. Yeah. Some say that procrastinators are basically, letting the brain juice do some heavy lifting first. Yeah. To really think through the process and to let things gel and then when you really do it, wow, you do it in short time, At least that's what I like to think also. Yeah. But the year is coming to an end. Yeah. So if you are a procrastinator like me, good to think about, okay, what are the things that I have procrastinated over? Yeah. What I do find is that our life is a spectrum. It's not like computers, 1 and 0. There are no sharp edges, no clear distinction in our life. Meaning, if in one aspect of our life we procrastinate, then in another part of our life, it's hard for us to suddenly become super, on the ball. Yeah. It spills over, more or less. And the reverse is true. If we manage to change one part of our life, it spills over to the other aspects of our life also. So for example, in the past, my parents used to nag at us about, if you finish your drink, bring it to the sink and wash it immediately. Don't just leave it on the table, leave it in the sink. Yeah. Of course, one of the good things, the benefits of being a monk is that you don't have your parents nagging at you anymore. Fringe benefits. Yeah. And it's not just that, it doesn't stop there. But because of that, you also have to face the consequences yourself. Yeah. Because if you are staying with your parents, or if you are a parent yourself, you know that if your kid don't wash it, eventually either the father or mother will go and wash it. Or in the case today, the maid will go and wash it. Yeah. But when you're staying by yourself, or if you're a monk, even in the Sangha, nobody is going to go and wash it for you. Everybody have their own practices, their things to do. And especially if you live in your room, then you have to face the ants. Yeah. All the cockroaches, even xiaoqiang. Yeah. So once or twice, because of my procrastination, I wake up to a cup filled with ants. Yeah. The ants were having a party there. Yeah. And ants these days are a bit strange. Last time, if you have water, no ants come. If you have Milo, coffee, the ants will come. But ants these days, you have clear water inside, the ants will go in and then dive in. Yeah, some swim and then they swim into the deep pool. So once or twice, when I saw that, I'm like, I feel so bad, Yeah. Because indirectly, I didn't put it there thinking, may many ants go inside and die. I didn't think that, but I cannot deny my involvement because of my procrastination or laziness, if you will. Or I just thought, tomorrow I will watch it. Yeah. And then the next day I have to face the fact that my inaction has caused the death of many ants. So last night, before I turned in, switching off all the lights and then went to the sink, turn it on, wash up everything, and let it dry. I find that each time I do this consciously, it spills over to other aspects of my life. Should I answer the phone? How many of you think I should answer the phone? Raise up high?
Yes.
Oh, really quite loud. Hello? Uh-huh. 是。NTUBS。我现在在讲课。要不然你今天5点钟打给我好吗？好，谢谢，阿弥陀佛，不客气，阿弥陀佛。
Who's asking?
Who's asking? Even my mom know my joke about asking. Let me turn off the buzzer. Sorry. Yeah, so I find that when I do small little things like that, to just complete a task that I can do now, to just complete it and not wait for later, then it spills over to the other aspects of my life. Then I find myself more energetic to put in that time and effort to really face, okay, I need to do this. And just sit down, spend that 15 minutes, half an hour, and just get it over with. And mind you, washing the cup is nothing spiritual. It's not as though you need to chant Om Mani Padme Hum. It's nothing spiritual. Yeah. But as much as it doesn't seem spiritual or religious, it changes something in you. It changes something in you. It brings up that energy, that willpower, if you will, yeah, to go against our tendency, our habitual tendency to just push things off, to do it later, yeah? And then to redirect our energy and effort to something that we want to get done. And mind you, again, this is not simply about spiritual practices. Yeah, you'll find that it changes various other aspects of your life, be it your social life, your work, your family, yeah? Or if you will, if you wish to progress spiritually, yeah, it can actually affect that as well. So think about it. Yeah? When we reflect over the year, it's not meant to be a guilt-tripping exercise. Yeah? Not meant to beat yourself over and feel like, oh, I'm such a slacker, yeah? But to really do an assessment, yeah? Do an assessment of your own life. And just write down and ask yourself, let's say 12 months. And if you can ask yourself, okay, anything major that you have accomplished in January? How about February? How about March? Or was there something that required you to spend time over 3 months instead of just 1 month? Yeah? And is there anything that you set forth but you have not accomplished? What have you accomplished and what have you not accomplished? Let's write down. Yeah? Try this exercise. Yeah? Before we start the new year. We have 2 more sessions. Is it 2 more sessions? Yeah, in November. December, sorry. It's December. Before 2017 come upon us. So for next few weeks, besides the teachings that I'm covering, maybe like you all to do that exercise, and then we'll share a bit more of that. Okay. So who is new here today? Who? Where? Hello, hi. Yeah, tell us your name and how you got to know about this good cultivation.
Hi, I'm Crystal, and this is my husband, Victor.
Hello.
So
Hello.
we came because of Lewis.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You managed to find a place? I mean, like, of course you managed to find a place, but was it easy to find a place?
I thought I was getting lost.
You get lost?
Oh, no, not lost.
Not lost. Okay. So, anybody else who is new here today? Let's see. Last week, someone.
She's not here.
Not here.
Her mom is here.
The mom. Where's the mom?
She left.
Oh, this night.
No, she have class upstairs.
Okay.
So I asked her to come in.
Okay, left side, everybody there. Sarah, is he with you?
Yeah, it's my son.
Hello, son.
Jacob.
Oh, the camera is very second.
Also,
Let me adjust it. No, there are 3 notches. If the first one doesn't work, try the second one. Though, if the first one is stuck, try the second one. If the second one is stuck, try the third one. It's still the same here. Yeah. Okay. Yes, sorry, got carried away. What is your name again, and how do you get to know about this group congregation?
My name is Jacob.
Jacob.
I'm here with my mom.
With your mom.
Invited me here to join you guys.
Very nice. Welcome, welcome. Did she drag me here? I like the way you did it. She invited me here. How old are you?
I'm 19.
19 years old. What are you doing now?
I'm in the army right now.
In the army? Which unit?
38 SE. 38 SE.
38 SC.
Nice.
Combat engineers.
Yeah.
Field combat or
Armor.
armor combat? Wow. Okay. Let's, how long more to go? Or just maybe?
Halfway.
Huh?
Halfway more.
Halfway more. Are you enjoying yourself?
Politically correctly is yes.
Very good. By now you have learned the term politically. I was with 313. Yeah, I was with 313. But I was with the active brigade for the reserve unit. Yeah, so I was not a combat unit. I was there as a signal storm man without signal storm or unit. Yeah, so okay. Welcome. On my right side, anybody who is new, introduce. Yes, you see 15 minutes of our life have passed. Okay, I think everybody is here already. Welcome again back to SGC. For those who are new with us, the light in the center is on. So we do some short chanting and then a bit of meditation, and followed by Dharma sharing. So last week we covered the Buddhist precepts, which we cover once a month on the first week of the month. This week we continue with the 6 the perfections, and we have covered the perfection of giving, and we have briefly started on the perfection of giving. And I've mentioned before about the 3 levels of precepts. Yeah? 律仪戒、道共戒、定共戒, and then 道共戒. So I collected some information about precepts for you all. Let's see. Okay. Is it clear, or is it too slow? Is it legible? Is it possible to read? Maybe the front, like the rest of the room should be okay. Much better. Yeah, the rest of the room can be turned on. Yeah. So precepts. There are precepts usually under Vinaya. Yeah. It forms the 3 basket. The collection of teachings. So, what we call the Tripitaka. And then we have the Jingzang. And then we have the Yuzhang, and we have the Lunzhang. So this is Sutra, this is Vinaya, and this is Abhidhamma. So Precepts is under the Vinaya Pitaka. So these are three collections. Sutra Pitaka. Sutra Pitaka refers to the collections of discourses, the teachings that the Buddha has given. Vinaya refers also to the teachings, but specific parts of the teaching which pertain to regulations, pertain to the way the monks and nuns should live their life. Yeah? And within this boundary, there is what we call the precepts. Abhidhamma, Lun, refers usually to the commentaries. Yeah? So when the Buddha gave teaching, then at a later time, Abhidhamma came later. Yeah? Typically, we agree that Abhidhamma as commentaries came later. It is a set of texts that explains what is covered inside the Sutra and Vinaya. So these are commentaries to explain what is inside Sutra and Vinaya. So how did all this come about? The first two collections, Sutra and Vinaya Pitaka, came to us or became formalized in the first council after the Buddha has passed away, 3 months after he passed away. So 500 arahants is said to have convened and recited. Sutra Pitaka was recited by Venerable Ananda, who was the attendant of the Buddha for 25 years. Yeah. And then Vinaya was recited by Venerable Upali. And so when we talk about precepts, then it falls under Vinaya Pitaka. Okay, Vinaya Pitaka. In Chinese called Pi Na Ye. There are a lot of different, if you look at this, there are a few different transliteration. Yeah. Pi Na Ye, and Bi Na Ye. Yeah. They all refer to the same thing. Yeah. In the lineage that I was trained in, we usually refer to the first transliteration, Pi Na Ye, which in a way sounds like Vinaya. Yeah, Vinaya. Yeah. Today when we pronounce this, we pronounce with a V. Yeah, but in the Indian Sanskrit Pali pronunciation is Vinaya. Yeah, so some slight difference now. Yeah, so the meaning of Vinaya, 调伏灭离行善智等义. So there are a few different meanings of the term Vinaya. Yeah? Just now I mentioned about how it is the regulations pertaining to how the monastic should live their life. 生活规范之境界. So it is a very large scope. And within this large scope, there are the precepts, which I'll talk about in a short while. But the meaning of the term Vinaya itself, 调伏, to overcome, yeah? In this case, overcome what? Overcome our defilements. Defilements arise, you overcome it, 调伏, to quell it, to subdue it. Yeah? 离行, the practice of distancing from wrongdoing. Yeah? 善智, to counter, to when you have defilements arise, you have unwholesome behavior, to have practices that can counter it, yeah, to counter it. So these are the different meaning. Now in the Vinaya itself, then we have the different categories of individuals, usually known as the fourfold community: monks, nuns, laymen, and laywomen. In the Mahayana tradition, we follow the precepts under the Dhamma Guptaka tradition, So the monks, we have 250 rules. The nuns have 343. In the Theravada tradition, 227 and 338. Yeah, so the numbers vary a bit, yeah, but the crux of it are virtually identical. So, in the Tibetan tradition, they follow the Sravastivadin lineage, yeah, Mullah Sravastivadin lineage. So they have their own set of rules, but again, identical to ours also. So that's for monks and nuns. Then within monks and nuns is further split into fully ordained and novice. Novices are all standard 10 precepts. And for the nuns, between the novice and the fully ordained nun, there's an intermediate stage called the Sikha nun. Yeah, so those who are under probation or practicing to become a fully ordained nun, and they observe another additional 8 rules. Yeah. 6 and 8. Then for lay men and women, you have the 5 precepts. You have the up to the 8 precepts, Attasila. The novice monks and nuns is 10 standard, as I mentioned. Yeah. So I wanted to share with you all something that I learned many years ago about the 10 benefits of having the precepts. Yeah, the 10 benefits. When the Buddha set forth the rules, now he set forth not simply to make things difficult for people. Yeah. And of these 10 benefits, it in a way it affects the monastics. It also affects the lay. Yeah. So what are the 10? 佛陀所说自戒十力. So the Buddha has expounded 10 benefits of instituting the precepts. 何等十? What are the 10? 一者生故. I'm going to read through the 10, then after that I explain. 一者摄生故, 二者极易摄生故, 三者令生安乐故, 四者则福无修人故, 五者有惭愧人得安稳住故, 六者不信者令得信故, 七者以信者增益信故, 八者于宪法中得漏禁故, 九者为生诸漏令不生故, 十者正法得久住. Okay, so these are the 10. 为诸天人开甘露师门故. 以是十事如来应供正遍知. This is referring to the Buddha and the various epithets. 为诸弟子自戒力说婆罗提摩萨法. So Pratimosha I will explain below. So these 10 benefits, what are they? 一者 the first two, 一者摄生故, 二者极易摄生故. In brief, it is for the sake of encompassing the Sangha, to allow the Sangha to be in some ways united, yeah? To help the Sangha, that means the community of monks and nuns, to be able to come together, live in harmony. Yeah? To do this to the best. When we think about precepts, we typically think, this is something harmful, you can kill, you can steal and so on. This is just one part. As far as the monastic code is concerned, a good chunk of it actually has to do with helping the Sangha to live together in harmony. So there's this purpose also. When we come together as a group, in a way this is also called a Sangha, because the word Sangha means assembly. Assembly of people. So when we look at the monastic sangha, there are rules for them so that they can live in harmony together, so that they do not affect each other in their practices. Yeah? So a good number of these rules have to do with helping them to practice together in harmony. Similarly, when we come together on Sunday for SGC, then there are certain rules, such as no parking outside, yeah, so that we can be in harmony. Yeah, but beyond that, what else? 三者令生安乐故. Yeah, so just staying together is not enough. They can stay together and be harmonious. Yeah. 是者则福无修人故. Now there are those who do not have shame. Yeah, there are those with shame. Here, shame is actually a positive word. Meaning, you know, here shame refers to knowing what is right and wrong. That if you do something wrong, you know that it's wrong, and you would refrain yourself. But there are those who don't know, yeah, or who don't feel they feel it's okay. So the Buddha set a rule, tell you explicitly. You cannot say you don't know. Yeah. 则福无修人故. 无者有惭愧人得安稳住故. So how about those who already have shame? For those who have shame, they can practice in peace. Yeah? Those who actually can practice on their own, but if they are staying with those who are not able to practice and they are shameless, then it may affect them. Yeah,